Good evening, everyone. Today we're going to tackle a topic that's both deeply personal and universally relevant: how to be happy alone. It's a subject many of us struggle with, yet one that holds the key to a more profound and meaningful life. Being alone isn't a curse, it's an opportunity, and the ability to find happiness in solitude is one of the most important skills you can develop. To understand how to be happy alone, you must first confront the reality of loneliness. It's an uncomfortable truth that many of us try to sidestep. Loneliness is often viewed as something to be avoided at all costs, like a deep, dark void that threatens to swallow us whole. Yet, paradoxically, the act of avoiding loneliness only intensifies its grip. By refusing to face it, we allow it to fester and gain power over us. It becomes a shadow, always lingering, shaping our decisions and behaviors without our conscious awareness. The first step to overcoming loneliness is acknowledging its presence. It's not easy. In fact, it's one of the most challenging things you can do because it requires a level of honesty with yourself that many people are not prepared to embrace. Loneliness exposes vulnerabilities, insecurities, and fears that most of us would rather keep buried. But those feelings, uncomfortable as they are, hold the key to understanding what truly matters to you. When you sit with loneliness, you begin to realize that it's not merely the absence of others that causes discomfort, it's something deeper. Loneliness often reflects a lack of connection not just to others but to yourself. It's a signal, a kind of internal alarm, alerting you to areas of your life that are unfulfilled or neglected. For example, you might feel lonely not because you're physically alone, but because you're not aligned with your values, your goals, or even your sense of purpose. Many people respond to loneliness by seeking distractions. They turn to their phones, endlessly scrolling through social media, seeking validation or companionship through fleeting interactions. They may immerse themselves in work, entertainment, or relationships that are shallow or unfulfilling. These distractions can temporarily dull the pain, but they don't address the root cause. Worse, they can create a cycle of dependence where you continually look outward to escape the discomfort of being alone, rather than looking inward to confront and understand it. The reality is that loneliness isn't inherently bad. It's a natural part of the human experience, and it serves an important function. Loneliness pushes you to examine your life, to ask yourself tough questions: what do I truly want? Who am I when no one else is around? What parts of myself have I been neglecting? These are not easy questions to answer, but they are essential for growth. Facing loneliness requires courage. It means sitting in the silence, resisting the urge to distract yourself, and allowing the discomfort to surface. This is not about wallowing in self-pity or despair, it's about creating space for introspection. Imagine loneliness as a guest knocking on your door. Instead of ignoring it or pretending it's not there, you invite it in. Sit with it and listen to what it has to say. In those moments of solitude, you may discover aspects of yourself that you didn't know existed. You may uncover unresolved emotions, forgotten dreams, or hidden strengths. You might realize that the things you've been chasing, success, approval, relationships, are not what you truly need to feel whole. And in that realization, there is freedom. Loneliness also teaches you about resilience. When you confront it head-on, you build the capacity to endure discomfort without being overwhelmed by it. You learn that you are capable of standing on your own 2 feet even when the world feels distant. This doesn't mean shutting yourself off from others or becoming emotionally self-sufficient to the point of isolation. Rather, it means developing the inner strength to find peace within yourself, regardless of your external circumstances. One of the most profound lessons loneliness offers is that it's not permanent. Emotions, by their nature, are transient. They come and go like waves on the shore. By sitting with loneliness, you begin to see it not as an endless void, but as a temporary state, a cloud passing through the sky of your life. This perspective can be incredibly empowering because it reminds you that you have the capacity to endure, to adapt, and to grow. Confronting loneliness also lays the foundation for deeper connections with others. When you understand your own loneliness, you develop greater empathy for the struggles of those around you. You become more attuned to the importance of genuine connection, and you're better equipped to build relationships that are meaningful and authentic. Ultimately, loneliness is not something to be feared or avoided. It is a teacher, a guide, and an opportunity for self-discovery. By confronting it, you not only diminish its power over you, but you also unlock a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world. It's a process that requires patience, self-compassion, and courage, but the rewards are profound. You emerge from it stronger, more self-aware, and better equipped to find happiness, whether you're alone or surrounded by others. The next time you feel the weight of loneliness pressing down on you, don't run from it. Sit with it, listen to it, learn from it. Because in the heart of that discomfort lies the path to your own strength and happiness. To be happy alone, you must build a relationship with yourself that is rooted in respect, compassion, and care. This might sound straightforward, but in practice it requires intentionality and effort. The way most people treat themselves reveals a troubling dynamic. They are often their own harshest critics, neglecting their needs, dismissing their achievements, and speaking to themselves in ways they would never dream of addressing someone they care about. This self-neglect creates a void, a sense of dissatisfaction that no amount of external validation can fill. To truly thrive in solitude, you must become someone you enjoy spending time with. Think about how you approach a close friend who is struggling. You offer them encouragement, patience, and understanding. You remind them of their strengths and suggest ways they might grow or improve without tearing them down. Now, compare that to how you treat yourself. When you make a mistake, do you offer yourself kindness or do you berate yourself endlessly? When you're feeling down, do you give yourself permission to rest and recharge, or do you push through, ignoring your own limits? The truth is, many people show more compassion to others than they ever extend to themselves. This imbalance needs to change. Building a healthy relationship with yourself starts with paying attention to your needs, both physical and emotional. On a basic level, this means caring for your body through proper nutrition, exercise, and sleep. These are the foundations of well-being, and neglecting them can exacerbate feelings of loneliness or unhappiness. But physical care is just the beginning. Emotional care is equally, if not more, important. This involves understanding your emotions, validating them, and responding to them in ways that promote healing and growth rather than avoidance or suppression. Developing self-awareness is crucial to this process. Take time to reflect on your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Journaling can be an effective tool for this, as it allows you to express and examine your inner world without fear of judgment. You might start by writing about your day, noting what made you feel happy, frustrated, or inspired. Over time, patterns will emerge, giving you insight into what truly matters to you and what might be holding you back. It's also important to actively nurture your interests and passions. When you're alone, you have the freedom to explore what excites and fulfills you without having to compromise for the sake of others. Use this opportunity to discover hobbies or activities that bring you joy, whether it's painting, gardening, reading, or learning a new skill. These pursuits not only provide a sense of accomplishment, but also reinforce the idea that you are capable of creating your own happiness. Another key aspect of building a relationship with yourself is setting boundaries. This might seem counterintuitive. Why would you need boundaries with yourself? But it's about recognizing your limits and respecting them. For instance, if you find yourself overworking or overcommitting to obligations as a way to avoid being alone, it's essential to set boundaries around your time and energy. Protect your solitude as a necessary space for rest and self-renewal, rather than something to be feared or avoided. Learning to celebrate your own company is another vital step. Spend time alone in ways that feel rewarding. Treat yourself to a meal at a restaurant, go for a walk in nature, or simply enjoy a quiet evening at home with a good book or movie. At first, these activities might feel strange or even uncomfortable, especially if you're used to relying on others for companionship. But over time, you'll begin to associate solitude with peace and enjoyment, rather than with loneliness or boredom. A major challenge in building a relationship with yourself is overcoming negative self-talk. This is the internal dialogue that tells you you're not good enough, that you're failing, or that you'll never be happy alone. Addressing this requires both mindfulness and practice. When you catch yourself engaging in negative self-talk, pause and reframe your thoughts. Instead of saying, "I'm so bad at this, try, I'm still learning, and it's okay to make mistakes." This shift may seem small, but over time it can dramatically improve the way you see yourself. One of the most rewarding aspects of building a strong relationship with yourself is the independence it brings. When you know who you are, what you value, and how to care for yourself, you become less reliant on others to meet your emotional needs. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself or stop valuing relationships with others. Instead, it means that you approach those relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness or dependence. You're no longer seeking others to complete you, you're sharing your life with them because you genuinely want to. The relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. If you treat yourself with kindness, respect, and love, you'll naturally expect and encourage those same qualities in your interactions with others. Moreover, when you're happy alone, you're better able to appreciate and nurture the connections you do have without clinging to them out of fear of being alone. Building a relationship with yourself takes time, patience, and effort. But it's one of the most worthwhile investments you can make. It's not about reaching a point of perfection or complete self-sufficiency. Rather, it's about creating a foundation of self-respect and self-compassion that allows you to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. When you truly know and love yourself, you'll find that something you need to chase, it's something you carry with you, no matter where you are or who you're with. To be happy alone, it is crucial to pursue meaning rather than distractions. In today's world, distractions are everywhere, and they are designed to be irresistible. Social media feeds, streaming platforms, endless notifications, they all vie for your attention, promising instant gratification and temporary relief from discomfort. And while these distractions may provide a fleeting sense of escape, they do little to address the deeper, underlying need for purpose and fulfillment. In fact, the more you rely on distractions to avoid solitude, the further you drift from the meaningful engagement that can genuinely enrich your life. Meaning is not the same as pleasure or entertainment. It is deeper, more enduring, and often more challenging to attain. It requires effort, focus, and a willingness to confront difficult questions. What do I value most? What do I want to contribute to the world? What gives my life significance? These are not questions that can be answered in a moment, nor are they static. They evolve as you do, but the act of pursuing these answers gives your life direction and depth, even when you are alone. The pursuit of meaning starts with understanding your values and aligning your actions with them. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you, not what society tells you should matter, but what resonates deeply with your own sense of purpose. For some, this might involve creativity, like painting, writing, or music. For others, it could mean engaging with their community, supporting causes they care about, or building something lasting, whether it's a business, a garden, or a legacy of kindness. Engaging in meaningful activities often requires stepping outside of your comfort zone. It's easy to choose the path of least resistance, to opt for activities that are familiar and easy, even if they lack substance. But real growth happens when you challenge yourself to do things that are difficult, things that stretch your abilities and expand your horizons. For example, if you've always wanted to learn an instrument, start a fitness journey, or write a book, these pursuits may initially feel daunting. They demand time, patience, and resilience, but they also provide a profound sense of accomplishment and self-worth that no distraction ever could. When you pursue meaningful goals, you begin to see your time alone not as empty or isolating, but as an opportunity to invest in yourself. This shift in perspective is transformative. Instead of filling the silence with meaningless noise, you start to embrace it as the space where growth occurs. In solitude, you have the freedom to focus deeply, to immerse yourself in work or creativity without the interruptions that often come from social interaction. This focus not only enhances your ability to achieve your goals, but also fosters a sense of flow, a state of complete absorption in an activity where time seems to disappear. Flow is one of the most rewarding experiences you can have, and it's often found in the pursuit of meaningful tasks. Another critical aspect of seeking meaning is understanding that it's not about grand gestures or monumental achievements. Meaning can be found in the smallest of actions, as long as they align with your values and contribute to something greater than yourself. It might be as simple as tending to a garden, writing a heartfelt letter, or helping a neighbor in need. These acts, though seemingly small, create ripples of positivity that extend beyond your immediate experience. At its core, pursuing meaning also involves a willingness to embrace discomfort. Meaningful activities often come with challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But these difficulties are not signs that you're on the wrong path. They're indicators that you're pushing yourself toward growth. Discomfort is a natural part of any journey that matters, and learning to endure it is a skill that serves you well, not just when you're alone, but in every area of life. In contrast, distractions are designed to minimize discomfort by offering immediate but shallow rewards. They give you a quick dopamine hit. But once the moment passes, you're left feeling empty, unfulfilled, and often more disconnected than before. Distractions numb the discomfort of solitude without addressing its root causes. Over time, they can become a crutch, preventing you from engaging with the very things that could bring you lasting fulfillment. The key is to recognize when you're using distractions to avoid deeper engagement. This doesn't mean you can never watch a movie or scroll through your phone, but it does mean being mindful of why you're doing it. Are you taking a well-deserved break, or are you trying to escape feelings of boredom, loneliness, or inadequacy? When you choose meaning over distraction, you're actively deciding to face those feelings and transform them into something constructive. Ultimately, the pursuit of meaning is what gives life its richness. It provides a sense of direction and purpose that no external source can replicate. When you commit to meaningful activities, you start to see your time alone not as something to endure, but as something to cherish. It becomes the fertile ground where your passions, skills, and aspirations take root and flourish. By focusing on meaning, you empower yourself to live with intention and integrity. You discover that happiness alone isn't about avoiding loneliness or filling the hours with mindless entertainment. It's about using your solitude to build a life that reflects who you are and what you care about. In this way, the pursuit of meaning becomes both the antidote to loneliness and the foundation of a fulfilling life. To be happy alone, you must learn to connect with the world on your terms. This might seem contradictory at first. How can you be happy alone and still value connection? The key lies in understanding that being alone is not about isolation or cutting yourself off from others. Instead, it's about cultivating the ability to enjoy your own company while engaging with others in ways that are meaningful, intentional, and aligned with your values. When you're comfortable being alone, your relationships with others shift dramatically. They are no longer built on neediness or dependency. You're not seeking people to fill a void or distract you from your discomfort. Instead, you approach relationships from a place of wholeness and strength. This changes the dynamic entirely. You can connect with others out of genuine interest and mutual respect, rather than out of fear of being alone. The first step in connecting with the world on your terms is understanding the kind of relationships you want to cultivate. Not every connection needs to be deep or long-lasting, but every connection should feel authentic. To do this, you must become clear about your boundaries and values. For instance, consider the people in your life. Are they supportive and uplifting, or do they drain your energy and reinforce negativity? When you're happy alone, you're better equipped to let go of relationships that don't serve you, because you're no longer clinging to them out of a fear of solitude. Building authentic connections also means being intentional about how you spend your time with others. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to fall into surface-level interactions, exchanging small talk, scrolling through social media while half listening to a friend, or attending events out of obligation rather than genuine interest. These interactions, while not inherently bad, often lack depth and meaning. To connect on your terms, you must prioritize quality over quantity. Consider how you can create moments of true connection. This might mean having a heartfelt conversation with a loved one, sharing an experience that you both enjoy, or simply being fully present when you're with someone. These kinds of interactions are deeply fulfilling, and they remind you of the richness that relationships can bring to your life. Another important aspect of connecting with the world is understanding the balance between solitude and social interaction. Being happy alone doesn't mean you never seek out others. It means you have the ability to choose when and how you engage. You might find that your time alone helps you recharge and reflect, while your time with others provides inspiration, joy, and a sense of belonging. Both are valuable, and the balance will look different for everyone. It's also worth exploring ways to connect with the world beyond traditional relationships. Volunteering for a cause you care about, participating in community events, or even engaging with nature can provide a profound sense of connection. These activities remind you that you're part of something larger than yourself. They offer opportunities to contribute, to learn, and to grow, all of which enrich your sense of purpose and fulfillment. At the same time, connecting with the world on your terms requires you to be selective about where you invest your energy. Not every opportunity for connection will align with your values or needs. Social me, for instance, can create the illusion of connection while leaving you feeling more isolated and disconnected. By being mindful of how you use these tools and prioritizing in-person or meaningful virtual interactions, you can foster connections that truly matter. When you're happy alone, you also develop the confidence to navigate relationships with greater authenticity. You're less likely to compromise your values or needs to fit in or gain approval. Instead, you can show up as your true self, knowing that your worth isn't dependent on how others perceive you. This authenticity not only strengthens your relationships but also attracts people who appreciate and respect you for who you are. It's important to recognize that connecting with the world doesn't always mean being physically present with others. You can foster connection through acts of kindness, creativity, and contribution. Writing a letter, creating art, or sharing your skills with others are all ways to connect that don't require constant interaction. These actions remind you that connection isn't just about being with people, it's about the impact you have and the relationships you build, even indirectly. Finally, learning to connect with the world on your terms requires patience and self-awareness. You may need to experiment to find what works best for you. Some people thrive in large social groups, while others prefer smaller, more intimate gatherings. Some find connection through shared activities, while others find it through deep conversation. The important thing is to honor your preferences and needs without feeling pressured to conform to societal expectations or norms. Connecting with the world on your terms is about striking a balance between solitude and community, independence and interdependence. It's about recognizing that while you are complete and whole on your own, you are also part of a larger web of relationships, experiences, and contributions. This duality allows you to find happiness both in your own company and in the connections you build with others. When you learn to connect authentically, you discover that being alone and being connected are not opposites. They are complementary states, each enriching the other. Your time alone gives you the clarity and strength to engage with the world meaningfully, and your connections with others remind you of the beauty and depth that relationships can bring. In this way, you create a life that is rich, balanced, and deeply fulfilling, whether you're alone or surrounded by others. To be happy alone, you must cultivate gratitude and presence in your daily life. Gratitude and presence are not abstract ideals, but practices that require deliberate effort and consistency. When you're alone, these practices become even more critical because they ground you in the richness of your own experience rather than letting your mind wander into unproductive comparisons or what-ifs. They shift your focus from what you lack to what you have, from longing for external validation to appreciating the life you already lead. Gratitude is a powerful tool for reframing your perspective. It encourages you to see the good in your life, even in its simplest forms. The sunlight streaming through your window in the morning, the warmth of a cup of tea, the quiet satisfaction of completing a task, these are all moments that can pass unnoticed if you're not paying attention. But when you take the time to notice and appreciate them, they become sources of joy and contentment. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to focus on what's positive and nurturing, even in the midst of difficulties. The practice of gratitude can take many forms. Some people find it helpful to keep a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things they're thankful for each day. Others might incorporate gratitude into their meditation or prayer practice, silently reflecting on what brings them joy or peace. Even a simple mental note, "I'm grateful for this moment," can be enough to shift your mindset. Over time, these practices train your brain to notice and prioritize positive experiences, making it easier to find happiness in solitude. Presence, on the other hand, is about being fully engaged in the moment you're in. When you're present, you're not worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. You're here, now experiencing life as it unfolds. This can be challenging, especially in a world full of distractions, but it's a skill that can be developed with practice. Presence is closely tied to mindfulness, the art of observing your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you create space between yourself and your reactions, allowing you to respond to situations with clarity and intention rather than on autopilot. One way to cultivate presence is through mindful breathing. This involves focusing your attention on your breath as it moves in and out of your body. By anchoring your awareness to this simple, natural rhythm, you can bring yourself back to the present moment, no matter where your mind has wandered. Another technique is to engage your senses fully. Notice the texture of the ground beneath your feet, the sounds in your environment, the taste of your food. These sensory details connect you to the here and now, grounding you in the physical world rather than letting you get lost in your thoughts. Presence also involves fully immersing yourself in your activities, whether they're mundane or extraordinary. When you're cooking, for example, focus on the colors, smells, and textures of the ingredients rather than rushing through the process. When you're reading, give your full attention to the words on the page rather than letting your mind drift to unrelated concerns. By doing so, you transform ordinary tasks into opportunities for engagement and enjoyment. Combining gratitude and presence creates a powerful synergy. Gratitude helps you see the value in the moment, while presence allows you to fully experience it. Together, they create a state of awareness that enhances your appreciation for life, even when you're alone. You begin to notice beauty in places you might have overlooked before: the intricate patterns of a leaf, the gentle rhythm of rain against your window, the quiet strength of your own heartbeat. These moments, small as they may seem, remind you that life is rich and full, even in solitude. A critical aspect of these practices is consistency. Gratitude and presence are not one-time efforts, but habits that need to be nurtured daily. Like any skill, they require repetition and patience. There will be days when it's harder to feel grateful or stay present, especially when you're facing challenges or feeling down. On those days, it's even more important to lean into the practice, to remind yourself that happiness is not about eliminating discomfort, but about finding meaning and beauty within it. When you cultivate gratitude and presence, you also develop resilience. Life's inevitable ups and downs become less overwhelming because you've trained yourself to focus on what's good and grounding, even in difficult times. You learn to navigate solitude not as something to escape, but as a space to deepen your connection with yourself and the world around you. Gratitude anchors you in what you have, while presence ensures you're not missing the richness of each moment. Another benefit of these practices is that they naturally expand outward. When you're grateful and present, you're more likely to show kindness and appreciation to others, to notice and acknowledge their contributions. This creates a ripple effect, fostering deeper connections and enriching your relationships. But even if you're spending time alone, these practices ensure that your solitude is filled with depth and meaning rather than emptiness. Ultimately, gratitude and presence teach you that happiness doesn't come from external circumstances, but from how you choose to engage with life. They remind you that even when you're alone, you are surrounded by abundance and beauty, if only you take the time to notice. By making these practices a regular part of your life, you create a foundation for lasting contentment, one that doesn't rely on the presence of others or the fulfillment of specific goals. You learn to be happy not in spite of being alone, but because you've discovered the richness that solitude can offer. Happiness in solitude is not about rejecting the world or denying the importance of relationships. It's about building a strong foundation within yourself. It's about understanding that your worth, fulfillment, and joy come from the life you create, not from external validation or constant companionship. When you cultivate self-acceptance, pursue meaning over distraction, connect with the world on your terms, and embrace gratitude and presence, you unlock the ability to thrive alone and find peace within yourself. Being happy alone is not a destination, but a journey, one that requires introspection, effort, and patience. It's about learning to value your time, nurture your passions, and approach life with curiosity and intention. By doing so, you transform solitude from a state to avoid into a powerful opportunity for growth, self-discovery, and renewal. Ultimately, the happiness you find in being alone strengthens every part of your life. It makes your relationships more meaningful, your goals more focused, and your days more fulfilling. It allows you to live authentically, to engage with the world without fear or dependence, and to appreciate the beauty of your own company. In learning to be happy alone, you don't just enrich your time in solitude, you build a life of lasting contentment and purpose.